Hey guys, this is Cyber Saloon. So today we're going to be going over ReZero episode 13, which is the final episode in this core. Thankfully, we don't have to wait too long for the next half of the season. It comes out in January, so thankfully we won't get some long interval, kind of like we had with season 1 and season 2. Thankfully, the last 12 episodes do come out very soon. So we start off where Satella is approaching the witches' tea party, and all the witches are assembled from Enkinda, Typhon, and all of them. And everyone's kind of shook the fact that Satella is approaching because Satella is the strongest of the seven witches, and I think Sekhmet is the second strongest. So she approaches Subaru, and Subaru's kind of like, "Get the hell away from me! Like you're all monsters." But never makes this weird statement to where she says Subaru's ungrateful, and that she says he's worse than any witch. And I think this was a moronic statement. I kind of understand where she's coming from a bit, where I think she views it as Subaru's just trying to take all this burden himself, and kind of just wants to put all the credit for himself. You're worse than any witch. I mean, come on, dude. Daphne made the made the giant rabbit in the white whale. I don't and that's just Daphne. I mean, I can't even imagine. Satella tried to like wipe out the Earth, so I can't. It's just like I don't really know how that statement really doesn't make sense if you think about it. But I do love Minerva. Satella kind of brings up a really good point that she tell. So this episode in general, it really flips it on its head of what I thought Satella was going to be. The way, at least to me, that it was kind of portrayed in season one in this half of season two. I thought the Cytilla was going to be the worst of the seven witches, like a complete psychopath. I kind of picked up that she was doing all this to make Subaru suffer, or she had some odd goal for him. And then when she was approaching, I was like, oh man, like she's gonna be like this evil, like presence and like just terrible person. And that's not what it is at all. Like Satella is actually like really she's the complete opposite of what I expected from her. She tells Subaru to love yourself because I mean you kind of get this from Subaru like in this episode what as well to where he doesn't feel like he has any value and he's kind of just doing this all for himself, not for himself but for others, and he doesn't really view his life as that has any value. And Satella needs kind of like you need to save yourself sometimes, and so it's complete like her character is very much the opposite of what I envisioned it was going to be. Um, you see Subaru kind of go on a rant about this. He says that he doesn't want to lose anybody, and that's just why the Minerva statement doesn't make sense because Subaru. I don't think it's never occurred to me that Subaru has like some alternative motive for like saving people other than the fact that he like cares about these people and actually wants to save them. You see that, and he brings up Rim, which is a good example after what happened to her in episode 1 of season 2, to where she's basically just a husk right now and they're trying to help her out. She like he doesn't want to see that happen to anyone else. I mean, if you've been watching the series, I mean, you know that like I mean, imagine how many times he's seen all these people die, and not in terrible ways. Like, and so like he doesn't want a future in where someone he cares about has to suffer. Not whether they're like being a husk, or they're brutally murdered. Like he's actually trying to save like all the people he cares about. So like that. So I don't think I. So I'm kind of on Subaru's side on this one. Um, you see him kind of have a mental breakdown after he explains it because the witches kind of break him down a little bit. Um, Typhon goes up to him while he's having his mental breakdown, and she looks completely terrifying when she's like, "Who hurt? Like, who did this to you?" And then Satella makes a really interesting statement. She said, like, she kind of looks out for him because it's because you gave me everything. Now, this is really interesting. I obviously there's something we don't know about like Satella's connection to Subaru, obviously, and I think it has to do with the first time that Subaru like got teleported. I hope that gets explained. Again, I'm gonna pick up the light novels after the second core of season 2 is ended, but I hope it kind of reveals or gives hints about like how Subaru's even summoned there in the first place. Because it's just if it doesn't, like I assume that like this connection started with Amelia. I think again that I don't Subaru Amelia is not Satella, um, but there's an obvious connection between Satella and Amelia, and not just because they look alike. I mean, you saw, and for anyone who's seen the OVA Frozen Bond, you know that when she loses control of her powers, like it's some pretty dark magic. And on top of that, we see this more evidence brought up this earlier, like a couple of episodes ago during the season, when Amelia gets basically mind broken because Roswaal keeps making Amelia take the trial in Subaru's absence, and you see she has to tell his eyes when like Subaru comes back because like Amelia's eyes are just violet purple, but Satella's eyes are kind of like a reflective type purple, and you kind of see in her personality where it was like this obsessive manner that she had over Subaru. So there's some type of connection there. I think that honestly, I think that the first time that like Subaru met Amelia, like he thought she was like really pretty and was really nice to her, and I think that because of that connection that he kind of formed with Amelia in his first life, that Satella saw that in some way, and that's why, and it kind of gave her hope or something along those lines to where she views or has great interest in him or some hope for him. So I think that's what it is. But I hope we find out. And then after that, Subaru tries to kill himself. He tries to bite his tongue off. And you see Minerva's not having it, and she goes in to like attach his tongue back through a very odd, quirky power to where she hits something. She can basically like heal you completely. And they're not like Typhon and Sekhmet aren't letting her do it. They kind of respect his choice to kill himself, whereas the other witches do not. And you see that Satella says you should be saved as well. Like you need like because Subaru's kind of trying to atlas this thing. Like he's been trying to save everyone but him, and he's been shouldering this burden alone, and it's understandable why he has mental breakdowns all the time. So like and Satella gets that, and then Camilla and Daphne end up helping. Carmilla uses her power that she has to put Rim's voice in Subaru's head because Rim is always there. Rim's probably like Subaru's closest friend in the fact that she always helps him no matter how like in low of a place he is, that she's always kind of the one that helps him get out of it. Um, so we see that, and then Subaru, you see the other witches like are kind of happy that he didn't. Um, and after that, we see Enkinda takes Subaru's child away, and that kind of becomes relevant later during the episode. Um, and as Subaru kind of like points out that they're all monsters, he also says that thank you for helping me, because each kind of witch kind of views a certain property within him that is like not just redeemable, but like a quality that they respect. So as they're all fading away, you see that Satella at the end says, "One like find me, and then like I hope that you find me one day and kill me." And then of course Subaru says, "No, I'm gonna save you." So after that, we see Subaru kind of waking up to Otto and Parstresh. I probably butchered that completely, but after that, we see that like he kind of starts to understand that hey, like you actually view me as like someone you're close to, or you actually like me for who I am. I guess because Subaru, I guess so far is just feeling like, oh, like this is a person. I just don't want to see them suffer, but they probably don't view me like in any way special, with the exception of maybe like Rim and Amelia. But you see this that like obviously surprise to no one, Otto and Parstresh obviously care about him a lot. Um, and then Subaru tries to walk into the trial again, and we see Akinda has taken away his ability to take the trial, which and you kind of see in his conversation with Roswaal, he kind of hates this because he doesn't like to see Amelia suffer all alone. And then we get some big reveals with Roswaal. I mean, it makes sense because earlier during the season, like I couldn't think of who else could have ordered the attack on the mansion with Elsa and that annoying kid, but Roswaal admits that he is the one behind the attack on the mansion because he wants Subaru to choose. Roswaal is trying to basically make Subaru go become like him and become insane, and we see this that Roswaal has the one who's ordered the attack on the mansion. And he's also the one kind of messing things up in Sanctuary. So Roswaal is not a good dude, obviously, but again, maybe we'll get something new in the next course. I'm not entirely sure what his motivations are. Like he's a very odd character. Like he says that he views Subaru as like hope. Like I guess he views it in a way where like even if the future that Like even if the timeline that Roswaal is in um, goes to shit, we know that Subaru um, he knows that Subaru exists in another timeline to make that timeline better. So I guess that kind of makes sense to why he views it as hope. But Roswell also admits that he's insane. Um, and he also admits, he said, the same eyes that captivated me 400 years ago. I'm not sure who he's referring to here. Um, Subaru obviously is having a mental breakdown because he knows that this is completely screwed. And he tells Roswell this, that like I don't have the ability to do Sanctuary anymore, so like I can't save basically either party now, and so we see Subaru obviously goes and runs and has a mental breakdown, and then we see Best Boy Otto show up and explain to Subaru that you don't have to shoulder this alone. Like you can rely on other people to help you out, and that goes back to what the whole point of the beginning part of this episode is about. That Subaru's basically been having the Atlas this whole thing the whole time, and he doesn't really try to. You could say that with the exception of the whale. I mean, that's what I mean. Like with the white whale, he obviously went out to Crush and her whole entire retinue that they helped him kill the white whale. So, but he's done it before, but most times he just ends up trying to do everything by himself, and obviously that's gonna just destroy his mental state. So we see Otto kind of try to explain that to him. I think that was a really good point to end the season on. I'm really excited to what we get next in the next core. Again, I haven't read the. I'm gonna wait till after this core to kind of catch up on the light novels because I know that we probably won't get like a ReZero season 3 for probably like a at least a year, if not a couple. So I'm pretty excited to see where this next part of the season goes. I haven't read too many spoilers. I had one little thing get spoiled. It wasn't too much, but so I really don't know what goes on in the next part. But I'm pretty excited. The only thing the only qualm I kind of had, I wish Saitella. I wish that she and Subaru had been able to talk a little bit longer. But I mean, I guess I can't complain. That was obviously done intentionally because the author doesn't want to probably give everything about Subaru now. Not Subaru, but Saitella. I don't even know if he has, for anyone who's read the light novels, I don't even know if he has revealed that much in the light novel as well. But yeah, I had wanted Satella and Subaru to kind of sit down because again, Satella is the whole reason that Subaru's even going through all this in the first place. She is the one who gave him the ability. Without Satella, you don't really have a series um, like a show, or I mean, are the light novels to begin with. Like she is the one who gave him this power, and honestly, it makes me view that power differently. Like I had originally thought that this was some nefarious thing that she had done to him to to watch him suffer. But now, again, this episode has completely changed the way that I had thought Satella was, just because of the way that kind of people talked about her. That it made her seem like she was just like this evil, but she's the complete opposite. Like she wants Subaru to love himself, and we can see that she isn't a bad person, seemingly. I say seemingly just because I mean, Kina didn't seem that bad at first, but look how that turned out. But I think she's just a very distressed soul, to be honest. Again, I'm really excited to know what kind of connection she has to Subaru, like what she saw in him to even give him that, and then like that again, it kind of makes you view that power like differently because I don't. It's obviously not. It's obviously a curse, like in a way, like, but it's also not. Like you think about it, it gives the ability. It gives Subaru the ability not only to save himself but to save others, and it's just like it makes you view that a little bit differently. So I really like this episode. I think it did a lot. It I thought it was a really good way to end the season. I'm really excited to see what happens in the next half of the season. I thought the whole season overall was great. I thought White Fox did a great job with the whole entire season. The animation was great. The voice acting was of course great. Um, the way that the episodes were laid out and the things that happened, I thought were really good. So I'm gonna miss it, but again, I don't have to wait too long because it comes back in January. So yeah, I'm really excited to see where ReZero goes from here, guys. Let me know what you think in the comments below, or maybe what you think is gonna happen, or certain things you maybe enjoyed about the season. And I will see you guys in the next one. Have a good one.